by the third or fourth week or module, then the individual taking the course should be able to stand on their own feet and make the decisions for themselves. And what I wanted to do was separate their ability to lean on me as a crutch, which
Gotcha.
I've seen happen with men, right? I want to create the conditions for that person to seek within themselves to find the answers. And then if they still have questions after that, then they can join the call and I'll answer whatever questions. The first 10 men, I'm going to close the doors for the first 10 men after those people sign up and stop anybody else from going in because I want to make sure that I have everything correct and that the transformation actually occurs the way that it has in the past, but through the course platform. Does that make sense?
Yep. So almost like run, see the transformation with the 10, and then once you know that that is locked in, you'll move forward from there. Gotcha.
Exactly. Yep. And then the Slack meeting kind of it ensures that I can give the same service to everybody rather than am on the phone or on a call for 30 minutes or an hour every single day with every person. That's just not possible. So I want to make sure that everybody gets their answers, their questions answered. Yeah.
Gotcha. And so the 45 days is pretty much Slack. It's going to be message back and forth, one-on-one messaging, conversations. And then after that, 4 hours. Is the 4 hours bundled together or is 4 hours split up? Is it one, like it's up to like 4 hours after just to make sure, hey, is everything as it should be? That way you can kind of see it yourself one-on-one, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's a 1 4 hour I don't want to call it a session, but 1 4 hour get together where I'm looking at all of the different stuff that they wrote down, and then
Gotcha.
we're talking about it and just working through some of the deeper stuff that they're not going to be able to see on their own.
Correct.
And the main purpose of that is to get an accurate pattern of them. Like what are the active mind patterns, the way that they're thinking, and then the behavioral patterns, which the behavioral patterns will work themselves out after the mind is right. But we want to get the patterns in the mind down and then provide a clear roadmap on this is what you should do moving forward to fix the mind. And so that's what the purpose of that is. Okay. Oh, my bell curve spiked hard this week. I'm seeing patterns in myself I never noticed before, and it's honestly kind of terrifying. Is that normal, or did I just make things worse? So that was the I answered that in the first question about the bell curve um where you start getting awareness around your behaviors. And yeah, it might be terrifying, it might be, but that's the good thing because only when we have awareness and only when we can identify those things can we actually do something different. And so the more awareness that you have on it, the more that you can do the counter conditioning, the breadth of choice, and start to intercede that. And to break down what counter conditioning is, to break down what counter conditioning is really quick. So counter conditioning is this, like this is the way that we were conditioned, right? Is something happens like a wound or a situation that harmed us, harm, and then what happens is we seek relief, and then that relief actually felt good, and so um, it creates a wire. We'll call it a wire, like a synapses in the mind. Like, hey, this actually works. And when you do this long enough, then this becomes a an addiction or a vice or something, a vice or a automatic reaction like rage or something like that. And so you no longer need you no longer need in neither one of these. You automatically jump here anytime anything of the sort resembles it because you're getting relief from the situation, and the brain is like trying to predict how to stay in relief rather than having to ever deal with that wound again. And so what counter conditioning does, or yeah, what so this is classical conditioning. What counter conditioning does is it right here intercepts this wire, and you do something different. And this is no longer available because you've now rewired your brain. And this takes a lot of time, and it comes with awareness of your vices when they show up. So this is the model that I use to break a habit or a reaction. But and this is what a lot of people use is counter conditioning without labeling it that, and they don't really know that they're doing it. But in short, what we're doing is we are widening the gap. And I teach this is in the free course. We're widening the gap to from emotion to reaction. And a reaction is an involuntary action response. That's all it is. And so sometimes, like, that's drinking, sometimes it's binge watching, sometimes it's lashing out at the kids, sometimes it's, you know, going off on son's mom. I don't have anyone who passes all 5 questions for the corner. What do I actually do if the honest answer is nobody? So the questions in the corner are just 5 questions that we ask ourselves to find out, like, who's willing to tell me the truth when I need to hear the truth, and who who am I willing to talk to and tell the truth so that they have the ability to actually be honest and hold me accountable. Somebody in the corner is somebody that you open up to in, like, ask if they will literally just help you fact check your thoughts. And so the if you don't have anybody in your corner, then you can find somebody in the community. But I guarantee if you do the brain dump exercise that's in the free course, if you do that and then you start filtering how many ever names, 5, 10, 20 names, and answer, like, they're answering those 4 questions to qualify them, there are going to be people that pull up. There are no, like, nobody is absolutely alone in the world. And if you are absolutely alone in the world, then use the community and find somebody there, because in the community, somebody will be willing to help you because they know exactly what you're going through and they're walking through the same process. Is solid mind, fluid mind, is solid mind, fluid mind a real psychological concept or something you came up with? I want to look into it more. So it is something that I came up with. Um, I didn't. Most of these frameworks are what I come up with them, and then I find supporting evidence that maybe supports them. And so everything that I've shown you today are from my observations from helping men, and also from me going through the same thing. But we can we can try to find something. Um, so solid mind is our the way that we see the world is so rigid, and we cannot um we refuse to look at it from any other perspective. A fluid mind is able to look at at the world in different lenses without being emotionally attached to it or involved. So I'm not sure if that's an actual term or not. A solid mind is rigid, structured, and realizes relies on fixed beliefs or established knowledge. Okay, I guess they are. Fluid mind embraces change, ambiguity, and continuous learning. All right, cool. So there's this study here. Well, there you go. I guess is a thing. uh, but yeah, like the solid mind is just like a solid is so rigid that it will not change, and then a fluid mind is something who that's adaptable and open for to see other perspectives. It's also the ability to look at it from different lenses. And this fluid mind takes practice because we get so emotionally attached with the way that we see the world with our reality. But the fact is that we can only see a perspective. And so the more we can open up that perspective and start looking at it from different angles, then the more pieces of the whole that we will have to be able to notice the stuff that we're trying to change.
Kind of like what I was saying earlier about my friend, just where he's at a
Yes.
solid mind and there's not a
Yes.
fluid mind. He's not in a way he can't see outside of where he's at right now.
Correct.
He's
Yeah.
unable to help himself at the moment. He has not worked the cross those boundaries in order to move forward and fix more or
And
less.
that's an excellent point that you bring up too, because this is very important right here. Um, this is very important. So this back up here where we were,
Hmm.
right here, this delusion, the deeper this delusion is, which a delusion for clarity, a delusion is a false reality, and we believe it. It's a lie that I buy about the world or about myself. And so the deeper this is, like I believe this delusion 100%. I believe it. And so the deeper that this delusion runs, the more help that I need to get me out of that delusion.
Hmm.
The more help. And usually the spark to leave this, the spark to leave this is is the loss of materials or relationships.
Or freedom.
That's what drives us to seek a solution.
Right.
So if you have one of these still in your corner, you're usually not going to.
And I,
Typically,
w-
in
and
my
I would
experience.
And I would assume the deeper the delusion, the deeper you are in it, like you said, the more help you need. But also, I think the more pain you're going to suffer as well, the more pain you're going to go through because of how much deeper you are in the delusion, you know what I mean? Of who you
Yeah.
are as a person. It's going to be a whole lot more pain, I think, as well, that you're going to have to suffer. All right, not suffer. I shouldn't say suffer. Suffer is not the
I
right
mean,
word.
it's
Pain.
suffering, and I use that word a lot. It is suffering. Yeah. And yes, the deeper that delusion goes, the more that you will suffer, and the less likely you are to find a way out until until you begin suffering to a point where there's only two options, and those two options are you typically death or find, like, just throw your hands up and find a way. Like, somebody help me, something help me. Those are the two places that we go. But this is where the danger lies, is this this boundary line. The Because that level of desperation that we're talking about, like when the life is so ready to be over, like I will do anything to change my life, that desperation fades. It fades. And so the goal is when is before des- desperation. Oh, the goal, like the desperation will drive you this way, but everything is okay at some point. And so the goal is before the desperation wears off and you get here, we want to get to a place where you have purpose again. So that way you're no longer running from this. You're not running from pain and suffering. You're running towards something meaningful in your life. And this is where a lot of people fall off right here because, um, like when everything's okay. Because if you look at this, right, is here at this point right here, you are getting like some level of you're getting some level of okayness. Like you have a solution that's working, your life isn't really falling apart anymore. And so in this true freedom right here is the only place that you find true purpose. This is it. And so if you can't cross this boundary line and start experiencing life for sorry, this is a lot. I know I've worked a lot on
Oh,
this. So
right.
um the freedom comes from helping others, like pouring into others, like really giving them the experience of your pain and your suffering to help them grow. And so if you don't find the purpose in this, then you will go back or you will go over here because your worldview is still self-centered, is still on self. And so if you noticed, if you notice all of this, all of these right here are about self. They're
Mm.
all about like, what is my pain? Oh, the ego is like vanity and how much success can I get to cover up how I feel empty inside? And then the fear is like something's bad's going to happen to me, or I'm not going to be able to prevent something bad from happening to somebody else that I love. Like all of that is self. And so the the goal is to get you to this freedom, this true freedom where you find purpose in pouring into other people without like any conditions, like
Right,
any
you're just doing it. You're doing it because that's what you're meant to do. You're not doing it for any
exactly.
reason for yourself, you know. And then once you do that, I mean, there's a freedom in that. That's what you're saying, basically. There's a freedom in once you realize that and you're doing it for no other reason than, hey, this is my purpose in life, then you cross that boundary into, hey, and it feeds you back. I mean, I would assume once you do that, you're giving to others, but in the same sense as you're giving, it's giving back to you, and it gives you a purpose in every step that you're taking in life, right?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
gotcha.
absolutely. And it's funny that you bring that up, like feeding each other, feeding back, because each one of these this is getting a lot.
It's
um
Betsy.
yeah, so each one of these quadrants, let me just come back down here. Each one of these quadrants that we talked about, this that's not how you spell it. Freedom, this delusional, each one of these quadrants has a they have a relationship with the unseen associated to them. Some people God, some people spirit, some people collective consciousness or whatever. And so in this freedom area, the connection is in the present moment. There is no, it's in the present moment and most often found through connection with others. So that's what with like this is here, blue equals God unseen.
Mm.
And so each section has a different association with, like, for example, this delusional freedom right here, there is no relationship because of this phrase, I am God. And this one is usually agnostic. And the reason why it's agnostic is because the fear holds so much more weight than anything could ever help with. And so agnosticism is I believe, but don't seek. And then in this painful awareness one, it's there's no trust. There's no trust there because I'm still in pain. I haven't been like I haven't seen it to the other side yet. And I don't know for certain if that thing can get me there. Like like there's one thing of like knowing because you see it in other people's life, but with this freedom you have the experiential evidence. You have actual evidence that it can. And only through that evidence can you like to your core truly believe that it can get you there. And so your friend is probably, I want to say probably somewhere in between here. And I
Yeah.
would venture to say most likely here because he hasn't lost his material stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's got more material stuff. I mean, but than he's ever had in his life. I mean, there would never be a reason. You know what I mean? Right now, I mean, making more money, more success than ever. You know what I mean? And it's crazy because that's how the world is. It's like the more money, the more things we have, oh, the happier you'll be. And the facts are that's not the truth. You know, like I mean, make 50 grand a month and you're still not happy. Like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Like, where you at in the
Yeah.
head? Like, it's just not okay.
Yeah.
You know,
And that says a lot about like money doesn't really solve the problem because we're dealing with the human condition and that has nothing to do with money. The human condition was perpetuated in order for us to go
have a
and
purpose. Have a
believe that
purpose.
the money is to fill the void, but we've been sidetracked, and that purpose isn't actually from obtaining more money. The purpose is, like we said, what we said here was this connection with others.
It's crazy. I can remember growing up and my dad always looking at me and saying, you know, I did good, but I would always get sidetracked. But I'm telling you, 25, 30 years ago, my dad looked at me and would be like, hey, Caleb, you need to find your purpose, son. Like you need to have what is your purpose? Like what what inspires you? What drives you? You know, like what
Yeah,
truly what makes your heart happy? Like what truly gets you? You know what I mean? And once you lock in on that, I mean, hey, it's a tough thing. I'm 42 years old. And I mean, I've touched it. You know what I mean? I'm like, I know what makes me happy, you know what I mean? But it's like you said, yeah, pouring into others. I mean, been been pouring into I mean, it helps me a lot
yeah,
having this family, you know what I mean? Not a
yeah,
selfish thing, but having the family is a big deal for me, you know? It's helped me a lot.
yeah. And that's the thing. Like we touch that purpose, but if we don't pull on that thread, then
Mm,
we won't find the purpose. Like we know the general area. Like, oh yeah, I need to, you know, like me doing this. I mean, you remember 9, 10 months ago, I had no idea what this was going to turn into.
right.
And the thing that you said was like, man, maybe you should start a podcast. That's it. And I started pulling on that thread. And then even 5 months into it, I still didn't know what, like, I only had a picture of it. And so only through action and actually doing and pulling on that thread, then we finally like start to get a better picture of what that purpose really is. I don't know how to
I liked it.
dude.
It's zoomed in on you.
Yeah. I don't know.
The camera liked that, whatever it was.
Yeah. It has hand gestures on there. So
Gotcha.
um, but yeah. Yeah, so, if there is, like, a purpose that you've touched before, then you're not gonna really know this is really flattering, huh? You're not really gonna know what it is until you pull on that thread. And everything that we've been talking about in this diagram, everything that we've been talking about on this, well, I guess I've been talking about it for the most part, but, um, everything here, like, you're not gonna be able to really truly pull on that thread until you can start, like, tiptoeing this boundary line right here, because you're still center focused. And our purpose typically comes from pouring into other people, like, not, I need to make $100 million. I need to get the best truck. If, like, that purpose only leads to emptiness and futility, emptiness, like, it's not fulfilling. So, is it really a purpose if it's not fulfilling?
I think that's where that's part of that boundary line is where I've always kind of met. I've come there and then I just barely tiptoe over it. And then I don't think I've ever fully I've never turned that circle. Oh,
There's like, dude, there's like hand signs to be able to get it to zoom back out, and I don't know the signs because this is my webcam. I have a camera set up over there. So
I don't know. These are
and
our exercises. These are our exercises within the module.
yeah, these are what you actually do to start changing. But cool. Well, it's 11:30, so I'm not going to go over the rest of the questions. I'll save them for next week, unless you have specific questions.
No, I'm just here. I'm listening and learning. I'm gonna I'm gonna go over and look at everything again, that you already have out there
I
and
can
see.
walk you through the free stuff real quick if you want.
Sure, let's walk through it. Did you
Um,
do you
did I
do this
what?
once a week or do you do this every
Yeah,
day? Once a
on
week you do
Sundays.
this on
On
Sundays?
Sundays. Yeah. Can you see this?
Hmm.
All right. So yeah, once a week. On Sundays from 10:30 to however long. Usually I'm probably gonna cap it out at 2 hours since I'll have Navy, my daughter,
Right.
um, on specific Sundays. But this is where you land basically. And the classroom, so the before I get into the classroom, this is the calendar and everything will show up here. So sometimes I might have like a special event, or sometimes I might just jump on here and go live real quick when I have more members.
Okay.
So, um, and then this is the classroom. So these are giveaways. Basically, giveaways are like the more points that you have, then you get entries every 30 days for these monthly giveaways, and then one entry for the full course. And the leaderboard is where you'll find your points, and you get points for like just engaging with the community, making posts, talking to people, and all of that. And so you'll get these entry points when you start unlocking these. And then the actual classroom,
When you say talking to people, like, do you actually have to go in and upload that you talk to somebody, or is it talking to somebody through the course itself?
yeah, you just, so this is the community page, so you can just make a post and be like, um, whatever. Hi everyone. This is what my achievements or something like that were today, right? Or, and
Right.
then just you can just start a discussion. You can put a poll here. Um, what was yours? How do you do it? And just and then once you post it, then you get points for that. And
Got
then
you.
when you
And
vote
the
on
peop
it, you get points for it. And if somebody else votes on your poll, you get points for it. And then if you come in here and comment, you get points for it. And then the more lessons that you complete in the free course, the more you get for the more points you get. And so every lesson in here has like resources, deliverables. So let's go to this one. So this sim sleep, eat, move like basically helps you like what how to eat, what to do, like there's a workbook here. So everything has a workbook, and you just come in here, you fill out the workbook as you go through the lesson. And then it also has a guide that you can download and put with you on like what you could do. And so the overarching theme that ties all of the lessons together is something that is introduced later on in the course. This actually I think it's on Anchor Day. Is oh is this tracker. And so this tracker I built so that can you see
Yeah.
this tracker? So this is built so that you can see what kind of progress you're making. And I walk through in detail every single one of these. Like the course, everything in the course relates to something on this. And so by the end of the course, you know exactly how to use it. It takes 2 minutes a day and then 15 minutes once a week. That's it. 2 minutes in the evening time. So you literally just come fill this stuff out, and then um, it'll auto calculate like so you can see where you're at, what area you're falling short in, and then how you can continue to move forward.
Got you.
And so this becomes very important for the one-on-one coaching because um, I haven't been sharing my screen over here. This becomes extremely important because like when you get on an actual call with me or something needs to be addressed, then I'll be like, hey, okay, we'll pull up your tracker. Let's look at what your sim looks like. Let's look at how many times you're using the breath of choice. Let's look at all of this stuff to see like the areas, and then it can be sent to me, and I can be able to glance at it and know exactly, okay, here are the parts that this person is falling short on, and this is why the outcome isn't happening when it relate like with what they're dealing with. So because the key is the consistency that comes with it. Because like the behaviors, the emotional responses, the relationship to whatever your unseen is, and the mind that has been playing you has been operating in the background for how many ever years, 20, 30 years. And so, in order to actually rewrite all of that stuff and rebuild a belief that you choose, or a design for living that you choose, then we have to consistently inter like intercept all of this stuff. We have to intercept it, and it comes through the awareness, and that's what this whole spreadsheet is for,
Yeah, because
is
the
the
more
awareness.
consistent we are with it and you're staying with it, it's like you don't become because our human tendency is like, I mean, just like someone who you lose your freedom and you can't just walk in the kitchen and get a glass of water, or you can't just go get, I mean, it's like constantly bringing that to your face in front of you to where you don't become stagnant in what you're doing, because that's kind of like where you're hitting those borders where you then retract, like you're saying, you hit those boundaries and then it's like you kind of tiptoe and then whoop, you're right back because you're not making that progression constantly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it becomes a hard road at those boundary lines.
100%. That truth border, I think, is probably. I think if I said myself, I think that is where I struggle probably the most. I mean, I can get through
Mhm.
the delusions, I can go through the pain, I can get to the truth, and then when I'm at the truth, it's like what you're saying. It's that purpose. It's that purpose of, hey, where am I and what am I doing this for? Am I doing it for me? Am I doing it for them? Who am I? Why? Why? What? Like, oh, and then it's oh, let's
Yeah.
revert back to the delusion, and then oh, delusion, then pain, then back to truth. And then, I mean, how many times, I mean, many of us, some people, we're going to go through it a bunch of times, you know what I mean, to actually, till it actually clicks. I'm thankful for myself that at least I've seen the delusion, I've been through the pain, I know what the truth is. Now it's the steps of, I know, you know what I mean, what direction and where I need, personally. But um I mean, I would say I'm no better than my friend, but at least I'm not in the haze or the ego mindset of I don't see it. You know what I mean? I know what
Yeah.
it is. I see it. I'm not delusional to it. Like there is a realistic, I can see it clearly as to what it is. And that, I think getting out of that delusion is probably the hardest boundary. I mean, I think getting out of the delusion is probably the hardest boundary, and then pulling back into to getting to the truth and getting to the freedom part is probably the hardest. Delusion beginning, and then getting to, hey, what is my purpose, and what is going to make me move forward. I think those are probably the hardest spots in the
Yeah.
whole section, I would say. But
Yeah, and that's a perfect observation because the delusion, like you need a person to help guide you to smash those delusions. And then to
mm,
find the purpose, you have to be like seek a relationship with whatever spiritual whatever spiritual you have to actually find that purpose. That's like what I'm in my experience and what I've seen, like that is those are the two things. And so when those two things happen, like we start to realize that I can't do this on my own. And that smashes our pride, and in some cases it lowers our self-worth. We start thinking of ourselves less than, we start thinking of ourselves as weakness. And so when we actually and so we don't want the people around us to actually know that's what we're going through, and so we don't and they would know that that's what we're going through because we ask for help. And so we don't want to ask for help. I'm a man. Am I've got like look at everything I have. I got a loving wife. I've got kids. I can do this on my own. Look at everything I've gotten through so far. And so because of that delusional pride that we have, a lot of times we don't when we find the necessary help, we don't grab onto that help and go with it full throttle because those delusional fears come back, like people are going to think of me in a certain type of way, or the results don't come fast enough, and so they quit. They don't come instantly. And this is this whole framework that I have isn't a cut and dry thing. This is a dance with life. It's a dance, and it's an ongoing dance that will continue forever because it is the human condition. We will slip into delusional thinking. We'll slip into pride and ego. We'll slip into fears. We will slip into this painful awareness, thinking that there's no solution for our problem, and we will continue on this cycle for it's what it is. It's what it, and I will slip there too in whatever area. So nobody's immune to nobody's immune to it, and that's what I'm finding out in the industry is like they're this is so annoying is the is that the gurus and the people who are like helping coach people and all this are like giving them guarantees that they'll never deal with the shit again, and that's not true.
right.
They're just saying we will help you out of this and you will be 100% better, or whatever it is. But the fact is, no, you won't be. You will learn how to dance better. That's it. and I'm gonna give you the tools to dance with life
Amen to
a little
that.
bit cleaner.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. 100%. I that's a great point because I always thought like, what am I doing wrong or where am I at or what it was seeing. It's not so much the ego, it was seeing the results. I think that was one of my biggest things. Like, why am I thinking this way? Or why have I done everything I'm supposed to? Why have I not? Why have I not gotten there? Like that's I think where I end up hitting, where it's like, well, I did what I was supposed to do and it's just not
yeah,
working out. So you know what? Back
yeah.
to delusion, like, yeah, 100%. I agree with that. Constantly gonna dance with life. 100%. That's what we do.
That's what it
I
is,
like that.
man.
That's a good one. I like that.
We just have 2 left feet sometimes.
Mhm.
Sometimes we're real smooth with it, you know? Just depends. It depends, dude. Like, it's not we're never like Buddha or Jesus, or we're never like, Gandhi. Like, that's not I mean, if people are cool, but I'm sure they all had their struggles too.
Okay.
We're just we're just these people learning how to dance with each other, learn how to dance with life. We're done trying to get out of the hurricane. We're just gonna learn how to, move around in the rain. That's it. So, all right, brother man.
Cool. Cool,
Cool.
brother. Well, enjoy your day.
I'll
Appreciate
do
you.
it, man. All right, no problem. Love you,
All
dude.
right. Love you, bro.